Hey there, and welcome back to Transformers War for Cybertron. As you recall in the last episode, I showed you all the Autobot soldiers in their glory. And now, we are finishing off the last of the soldiers with the Decepticons. So let's just get straight to it, why don't we? Up first, the Decepticon Machine Gunner. Yep, we all remember this guy from the campaign. I'm sure we've taken out tons of him. This particular soldier is green, for the most part, but he has some slight bits of grayish-white throughout. Interestingly enough, you'll notice his gun is white and not green. So the white, ironically enough, is actually the primary color, even though he is, for the most part, green. Which, admittedly, I find strange, but what can you do? And he also has some strange anomaly on his face. If you look closely, there's some sort of clipping going on. Some sort of mesh issue, I imagine. Strange, but not really much I could do with it. He, of course, comes with his typical neutron assault rifle, as well as the Energon blaster pistol. He can also melee strike, though he too has no regular arm underneath his weapon. So, that's unfortunate. In any case, he can of course jump. He can dash. And yeah, that's about it. Let's check out his vehicle mode. Decepticon Machine Gunner. Transform! And here is his alt mode. Now, one thing I've noticed right off the bat is that his con symbol is, like, whacked out. I don't really know what happened. Might have to try and do some texture modifications on that down the line. But, nice look at him. Yeah, as you can see, he's pretty gappy. He has no hull mesh on him like a lot of other characters do. Got a little con symbol on the back, though. He has the typical carb weapons. He can also drive. Dash. All that stuff. And he also comes with 2 additional color variations. The purple. Same deal in alt mode. And the magenta, I guess, or light purple, which is a lot bolder than the purple. Here's his alt mode. Very bright for a con. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the machine gunner. Let's go queue up the next one. Next up, the Decepticon Protector. Now this guy's pretty neat. A lot more sparkly glowy than his counterpart. But he's got no real color to him. Just a whole lot of white. His glow takes up most of his color. It's a pretty cool look. I love the spikes on the back. He comes with his typical photon burst rifle. And he also comes with the Energon blaster pistol on occasion. He can pretty much do everything the machine gunner can. He can strike, dash, double jump. Yeah, pretty much all the same stuff as the machine gunner. However, his alt mode functions a little differently. Decepticon Protector. Transform. His vehicle mode is somewhat buggy. It also seems as if he has this different secondary color. Wait, so his primary color is white, yet his secondary color is purple, instead of being the other way around like the machine gunner. Yeah, he's almost got some blue-purple thing going on. That's interesting. In any case, yeah, his alt mode is a little buggy. He cannot turn while stationary. He can still fire his guns just fine. He can drive, dash, but he cannot strafe turn, which is odd. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why, but he cannot turn. Let's see how he actually drives. The camera operates a little bit differently, and he seems to turn a little different than most vehicles. But regardless, that is the Decepticon Protector. He'd make a unique Unicron unit if you made him orange. Might be something to try at some point. In any case, on to the next one. Next, the Decepticon Rocketeer. Yeah, we all know this guy. He, much like the other cons, has the primary Decepticon white with the secondary Decepticon green. He, of course, comes with his standard Fermo rocket launcher. Interestingly enough, he also comes with an idle stance. Have all the Decepticons have idle stances and I just didn't notice? Aside from that, he can jump, melee strike. He could dash if he had that ability, but he doesn't. Yeah, that's pretty much it for him, actually. If we check out his vehicle mode, yeah, it's pretty much the exact same car as the Machine Gunner. He has the same camera problems as the Protector, but he's got rockets. And that makes everything all better. But, interestingly enough, he does have a secondary color variation, which I will show you now. That is the purple variation. Much like the black bot Rocketeer, this con is found only at rocket barriers. He is actually not the same color purple as the Machine Gunner. He's actually quite a bit brighter than him. Again, I'm not sure just how common of a color variation this is, but it does exist. Let's check out his vehicle mode. Purple Decepticon Rocketeer, transform. Yeah, same buggy alt mode. Can't turn well in strafe form. But he's still got rockets. Okay, well, that's about it for the Decepticon Rocketeer. Let's just go head on to the next one. Next up, the Decepticon Shotgunner. We probably all remember this guy as well. First appearing in the To the Core level, he too has the main Decepticon white and the secondary Decepticon green, just like the Rocketeer and Machine Gunner. He too has his own idle stance. I guess I really wasn't paying attention. Strange that the Autobots don't have idle stances, but the cons do. He, of course, comes with his typical EMP shotgun. Aside from that, he can do the typical movements. He can jump, dash, melee strike. And he comes with his flak grenades, as we all know. So that's pretty much it for robot mode. Alt mode is pretty standard as well. But let's check it out all the same. Slightly different transformation, I think. He, much like the other Decepticon soldiers, can't turn while strafing. And his camera is buggy as well. And we also know that this guy is frequently seen with an overshield. Unlike the Autobot Shotgunner, this guy actually doesn't glitch out when he has an overshield active, which is nice. But yeah, that's about it for the Shotgunner. Next one! Up next, the Decepticon Cloaker. Yeah. This guy is basically a green variant of the Autobot soldier. Not a lot of differences between the two, except for energon color and symbols. Again, he has an idle stance very similar to Sideswipe, just like the Autobot version. He, of course, comes in standard Decepticon green, and I think he has some secondary dark yellow in there as well. There's not a lot of it, so it's hard to tell, but I think he does have that. He has his standard issue plasma cannon. Naturally. Very cool looking con. He can, of course, jump. He's got the unique Cloaker dash. Super fast. He has fully functional melee, because he's got a hand underneath. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, see, he's got that hand, so melee is fully functional for him. That's pretty cool. And he, just like the Autobot Cloaker, does not have a functional vehicle mode in-game, but files do exist for it. And if you attempt to transform, you will crash. But the files do exist for his alt mode, and just like the Autobot version, I will show you that in Blender now. It appears virtually identical to the standard con car, but it's pretty much all green, and he's got a little bit of yellow on his wheels. His con symbol looks a little cleaner though. Here's a comparison with the standard con car. Yeah, overall it's just a bit dirtier, and it's got a bit less color going on. But it's still pretty cool to see all the same. And in case you want to see what some standard gameplay looks like of the Cloaker, here you go. Yeah, this guy's really fun to play as. And of course, he wouldn't be a Cloaker if he couldn't cloak. Well, I think that will do it for the Decepticon Cloaker. On to the next. Next, the Decepticon Seeker. Yeah, we're all familiar with this guy. The equivalent to the Autobot Flyer. He comes in standard Decepticon green, with some faint white in there for his secondary color, so the opposite of the Machine Gunner for a change. His leg meshes are unfortunately missing, so not much we could do about that. But he of course comes with his standard issue X12 scrap maker. He also has his gliding animation for when he moves. He can double jump, melee strike. He actually has a hand underneath his weapon arm, so melee works fully. He also has his hover attack. How'd you get over there? Get back into frame. Now that's really all he can do in robot mode. Let's go check out his jet form, Decepticon Seeker. Transform! It is actually rather impressive. It's actually as fully functional as any standard jet form. Observe. He can strafe. He can barrel roll. He can ascend quickly. Descend quickly, fire rockets, and he can fly. Yeah, pretty much a fully functional jet. But I believe there's actually a second unused color variation for this character, which I will show you. It's basically an invert of the standard Seeker, but with a slightly more greenish green. I don't believe I've ever seen a second Seeker color used, so this has got to be an unused color variation, but it's still really cool to see. You can see he's way more green. The white might be a little brighter too, but he is definitely a lot stronger in terms of color. Still very cool to see. But that is pretty much it for the Decepticon Seeker. So let's just get on to the next one. Next, the Decepticon Brute. Yep, we all remember him. The big muscle of the Decepticons. He comes with his big, bright, glowing shield and halberd axe. He comes in the standard Decepticon green, with some bright specks of yellow in there as well. He's a little quirky right now, but he can of course do his melee strike. He could do all the other standard movements and whatnot. But before we get to all that, let's check out his truck form. Brute, transform. Yeah, there is the Brute's truck form. I think I like the Autobot truck a little bit more, but it's still pretty cool. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Onslaught's. He can, of course, jump, fire rockets, boost. I think he actually has the barrel roll ability despite being a truck, so that's a little strange, but here's some footage of him driving. Seems to turn a little better than the Autobot truck. Yeah. Now that his shield's out of the way, we can get a better look at him. He can indeed jump. Gets kind of buggy when he lands in due to his size. And it can strike, as we all know. We know all that. He does come with a rocket launcher, but we don't need to showcase that right now. That's pretty much the Brute. Let's get on to the next character. Next, the Decepticon Titan. Yet another familiar face. The heavy weapons guy of the Decepticons. An interesting thing about this guy, he has got the lowest quality textures of any soldier-based character in the game. I mean, seriously, we're talking really low. I don't think the majority of his textures even go above 256. His resolution is really small. I don't know why, but he is. Well, as you can see, he's got a nice Decepticon purple going on. Got his ever-powerful ion displacer turret. He can jump. He has the Brute's melee strike. Yeah, because he uses the Brute animations. I really would think they would have animations for him slapping someone with his big gun, but I guess not. As we all know, if he drops the gun, he regurgitates. Especially noticeable when he walks. Yeah, he's kind of cursed like that. Very buggy con. Well, with his weapon dropped, we can check out his alt mode, which is the same truck as the Brute uses, but it's more of a bluish purple, a little bit similar to Soundwave. Also got some secondary gray in there, but just like the Brute, he can fire rockets, jump. He's got the barrel roll ability, just like the Brute, despite him being a truck. And he can drive, just like the Brute, which you've already seen. So we won't showcase that again. He can't turbo boost or anything, but he gets the job done. But that is pretty much the Titan. Yeah, not much more to him. Let's go bring on the last character. And finally, the Decepticon Destroyer Tank. Yep, you can play as this big bad boy as well. He's got a faint yellow and Decepticon purple color scheme going on. I've always thought he was red, but I guess he's purple. He's very big. And he, just like the Autobot tank, has his fuel cell missing, which gives him a big gaping hole in his tank butt. That's comforting to think. Or he could store troops in there, in his tank butt. And that's besides the point. I think he has a bit more animations than the Autobot tank, maybe? Hard to say. In any case, he can shoot his cannon. Still kind of shakes just like the Autobot tank. He can jump, kinda. He can do the 180 turn, which is completely unrealistic, but we won't question it. And he can kinda drive. Here's some footage of that. I did say kinda drive, you know. Yeah, big tank, little map. Kinda tricky to show that off effectively. But with all that, let's now take a look at his robot form. So yeah, just like the Autobot tank, you can see he's missing quite a few pieces of armor. Just like the Jet Soldier thruster meshes, they don't load in for whatever reason. He's missing some on his chest, arms, maybe a bit on the shoulders, not sure, but mostly on his torso. Well, let's get a nice turnaround of him here. He does have his own unique weapon, but I was unable to get that operational. So I just gave him a frag launcher, which, again, you can't really see. His melee, just like the Autobots, is bugged. So if you try to use it, you'll crash the game. So, don't, if you want to see how he actually plays. So, much like the Autobot tank, you're not going to see a whole lot right off the bat. You can only slightly see him if you tilt your camera down far enough. So again, you need a binding to actually see him fully. But he functions the same. Slow-moving Hulk of a beast. Got the same Bruticus-esque animations. Yeah, he's a guy who really can't do too much. He also just poofs back into tank form when he transforms. So, no animation for that. And finally, if he is defeated, he has the same death animation as he does in campaign. And there you have all the Decepticon soldiers. Just like with the Autobot video, I gotta give a few shoutouts to wdred for helping me get these characters set up, and to StealthSquare for his help in filming the additional tank scenes. Wouldn't have been able to show it off well without you. Well, with that, we have covered all the soldiers in the War for Cybertron campaign that I've been able to get working. This project took a lot of work, but I think it was well worth it in the end. And in the next video, I'm going to cover a couple more characters that aren't exactly soldiers per se, but still deserve their own video all the same. So they will be next. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Be sure to leave a like if you did, and subscribe for more content just like this. That'll do it for this episode, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.